Hello everybody, so I'm just literally home from work now. I'm literally after being drowned. You should see my coat. Literally, there's a huge puddle on the floor because of my coat, because I've been out in the rain all day walking on the roads, etc. etc. So it's not the nicest kind of weather this time of year, but long story short, it's a good example, I suppose, for today, because I've seen it firsthand and I've seen it all the time firsthand, but particularly today because there's been a lot of rain. And the drains, a lot of drains. And this is the main problem. Two things to talk about, very important. Especially in Cork, down the country too, we see that many times floods. Even on rural roads in County Cavan, there's majority of rural roads, when there's any kind of rain like today, they turn into a swamp, basically. They'll be just totally swamped out. Lying water on the road, etc. etc. And the problem is, and again, majority in these instances in Cavan and other places, and the councillors and TDs like I don't understand how the place is flooded, etc. etc. They can't get their head around how it's flooded, and one reason is because the drains are clogged. All the drains along the road are clogged now. The county councilmen years ago used to clean them out, etc. etc. Nowadays we're told not to clean them out. We're told not to go near them. It's up to they get contractors in to clean them every once in the blue moon, basically. So it's not up to the local authority really. And in a lot of cases, and some local authorities might be different, but in a lot of cases they're told not to do it, and it was said many times that because of insurance, the county councilmen can't do it because of insurance, whatever reason that is. Maybe it's changed, maybe it's just some different local authorities do it different ways, but still nonetheless, you go around your local town now, like I would recommend somebody to go out down tomorrow evening, have a look around your local town, your local village, see how many drains on the side of the road are covered or blocked. And the reason why they get blocked is because obviously the water goes down, runs along the road, etc., etc., and goes into the drain. But it brings everything with them. So say there's a branch line of the road, a small branch, a few leaves, etc., etc. So the water brings it down into the gutter, and then obviously the gutter gets, and that keeps happening. The gutter keeps getting clogged and clogged and clogged. Like I've seen drains that literally you could nearly fill up 20 big bags, like big stone bags, like the big stone bags you get stones in. You can nearly fill up 20 of them bags with the amount of stuff they pull out of drains. I've seen one drain one time that was literally clogged to the front. It literally took me nearly 20 bags of that to lift it out because it was never cleaned out in probably donkey's years. And you wonder why there was flooding. And that's the majority of cases in Cavan. Take for example, even today in Cavan town, there's a few areas like that. The drains are clogged and the water just gathers around one part of the road and it turns into a big flood basically. It's pretty serious, particularly out there at the near what would you call the colours out there, petrol station near St Pat's. When any kind of rain comes at all, there's just a big cluster of water in one area, and it shouldn't be happening in theory, because again, if the drains are unclogged, the water will have somewhere to go. But it's the fact of the matter, the water doesn't have anything, doesn't have anywhere to go because the drains are clogged, and the water just lies in the road, and it is a huge issue. And then the second thing is too, it's cleaning out the rivers, etc., etc. Now they don't do it now because the environment. They say they want to protect the environment, etc., etc. And obviously, I think the Shannon. I think somebody said the Shannon, the longest river in Ireland, was never cleaned out since the British were here. And obviously, with rivers, etc., etc., there's loads of leaves and particularly tree branches and stuff clogs up the rivers, etc., etc., and causes flooding because you want the river to flow freely instead of having objects in the way that disrupts it, etc., etc. Like there's rivers in Cavan here that has big trees stuck like literally underneath the water, etc., etc., like big huge branches that take huge effort because they fall off the trees and then go into the water, and it does cause major issues, especially with flooding. But particularly the Shannon, as I say, if it's not, you see all the wetlands around the Shannon, take for example, whenever any kind of water comes at all, it floods around the Shannon. It's particularly bad then. The same in Cavan in some areas, some rivers, any kind of water at all, the whole place floods in some parts of Cavan. It's quite insane. Like particularly, I'm thinking of a few areas in Cavan. Nobody would know them because they're that back area of the country. But it's particularly noticeable. And again, if we do these simple things, and I do think it's important that we do these simple things, because again, it would save a lot of hassle. It would save a lot of businesses being flooded. It save a lot of houses being flooded. Save a lot of hassle for everybody. And it's just cleaning out the drains. And I know I often had to clean out a drain or two during my time, or even the roof, the gutter, I suppose, but it's different than the drain on the ground. But I know it's not the nicest job to do, but I do think if we had people like designated, and I've said this many times before, if we had 3 or 4 people designated on the council, in each municipal town, take this up in Cavan, we have 3 or 4 designated. Just that's their job, 8 hours a day to go around to clean out every drain in the county. 7 to 8, to take 5 days a week. It will reduce flooding a lot on the ground, etc., etc. Because again, there's nobody designated to do them kind of jobs. Only until they get contractors to do it, whenever that is. If that makes any sense. That's what we should do. And the same with every local authority. Should employ a few young men and give them a decent wage and say, look, that's your main job. You go around and clean out the drains along the side of the road. And it probably would improve a lot. But again, it's all money. They don't want to spend the money, and they don't want to put in the effort to do it, because it is a lot of effort to do it. And there's a lot of drains. You think about your local town, it's a lot of drains, especially in big towns, big cities. It'd be a nightmare to do it. But it's something that should be done, because again, the majority of cases, it's usually when the road's getting done up to do it, or when there's contractors. The council get contractors for something else to do it, and it is a big issue. It is a big issue in some parts of Cavan. It's a huge issue, particularly in rural roads. There's a bog road in Cavan. I talked about it before, but again, there's probably not much can be done there because it's a bog and it's infamous for being a flooding place. So there's nothing really you could do to be totally honest on that road. But in other cases, you can. Thank you.